Viva unity! Viva! Pachigaro cha baba munangako!
Abambiwe niwe!
Pachigaro cha shumba!
Abambiwe niwe!
Kopaka miwa!
Paluchocho munu!
Kopaka miwa!
Paluchocho munu!
Pass no the signal! Pass no the Masai sign!
Kana baba vataura tinoda kuti tivatende vari kutipa gwara rakanaka handei kwa zvakare kwa chikwa mururuda muridzo mazita.
Zanu PF does not have the copyright on violence. They may have the encyclopedia, but these other parties are writing their own novels. We've seen it. And so we have to ask ourselves, how is it? I saw this firsthand. Looking right now at what's happening from 2017, how President Mugabe was unceremoniously removed, to the other guys in the opposition and how they splintered like amoeba. There is something within us that us, whether we come from Zanu PF, whether we come from MDC, whether we come from Triple C, that doesn't want to say, Trevor is leading. Let me allow him to lead.
Corruption of any kind and excesses that alienate us from the people can never be condoned. Integrity, discipline, and unity. Concern for the people and the clean governance must be synonymous with Zanu PF.
After a long time off the screens, we bring you the first episode after the break of Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. And I know most of you were wondering where the program is. We're back and we're hot. And as usual, we bring you the hottest topics that that matter to you. We talk to you about the economy, the politics of this country, and even social service deliveries in your homes. Now we talk people, power, and economy of this country, and regionally too. Now this is, and this will always be, the Free Talk. Now join me after this break as we go into depth with issues that concern you. Welcome back to this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. On this, the Free Talk, and I, your host as usual, Dara B. Now, just over the past few weeks, we have seen scenes of political violence manifesting in our political space. We've also seen an attempt to silence those who hold an opposing view. And this is the subject of discussion, especially after the bombing, the violence that was meted on former MP in Chitungwiza, Job Sikhala, also a human rights lawyer and the chairperson of the NWG. Now, welcome and thank you very much for joining me.
No, welcome, Blessed. How are you?
Beautiful. Now, I just want us to open this discussion around violence as a way of settling political disputes in this country. Your house was recently attacked, but it's not the first time. Let's talk about this culture of violence in Zimbabwe.
Violence has been used as an instrument of political organization by Zanu PF since time immemorial against its opponents. What happened on my house, which happened on the 30th of August 2025 around 1 a.m., is not an unusual occurrence in the political fabric of our nation. Since Zanu PF took over power in 1980 in this country, they introduced the culture of terror, violence, assassinations against its political opponents. The first call of Zanu PF's terror and violence was witnessed between 1980 and 1987, when they unleashed the 5th Brigade in Matabeleland, where more than 20,000 people are estimated to have suffered murder and assassination on the hands of Zanu PF terror gangs. Not only that, during that period, it is also reported that even pregnant women were cut their stomachs apart to kill even children who were carried by the innocent mothers. Mass graves in Balangwe are reported to have been the order of the day in West Nicholson and other areas in Matabeleland. There are quite many areas dotted with many people who have been killed by Zanu PF. Basically, for the reason being, they were supporters of the Zimbabwe African People's Union, ZAPU. Not only that, we know what happened to Ndabaneng Stole at the moment when he came back from the United States of America in 1992. Terror was unleashed against him to the extent that they ended up planting a Claymore mine bomb along the way to the National Sports Stadium to allege him that he wanted to assassinate the then president of Zimbabwe, Robert Gabriel Mugabe. And because of that occasion, he was humiliated and taken to court, charged of treason, of attempting to kill the president of the nation of Zimbabwe. And since the formation of the MDC in 1999, there are so many people who have been killed, whose houses were burned down, whose livestock were taken away by Zanu PF, and it's a rampage militia on the countryside against the supporters of the MDC. Even if you were to read in the book Footprints in the Chains, the life story of Job Sikhala, right at the end of the book, there is an appendix which narrates the whole of honor of hundreds of our citizens who have been killed in this country by none other than Zanu PF.
Someone would hit back and say this violence has mutated and has transferred from Zanu PF and is now part of the opposition. And you are now, those who have said you are the alternative, are now as violent and even more vicious than Zanu PF.
If you could have witnessed where the opposition has had violence in this country, there is nothing which Zanu PF and the security services sector of our nation would act swiftly and effectively with military precision if an opposition member is involved in violence. Our prisons could have been filled up by members of the opposition movement who could have been involved in the acts of violence. That's where their expertise in terms of investigations will come to naught. Tell me one single opposition member who has been arrested one way or the other for violence in this country and convicted and get into prison.
But we have heard this from opposition members themselves. We have heard it from Trudy Stevens, who said she was violently attacked by thugs sent to her by Morgan Richard Changirai. We heard this from Elton Mangoma, who we saw in pictures wearing a shirt that was tattered after having had an opportunity to meet the violent fists of those who were considered or known as the vanguard in the MDC. We had Douglas Monzora, Thokozani Kupe saying that they were almost beaten to death or assassinated by a team that was led by that in Buhera during the funeral of Morgan Richard Changre. Now, this is a history of violence. So what I want to understand is, have you moved into the beast that you are seeking to displace?
If you would ask me about the truth service case, it's a matter that if I correctly recall, is said to have happened in 2005. And also the Zanu PF and the Douglas Manzura issue is said to have happened some 10 years ago or so. But if you would imagine, some of this violence that you are talking about, they are not as comparable as to the beast that has killed people. Truth service did not lose a life. So is Zanu PF, so is Douglas Manzura. Although we cannot condone any form of violence on anybody who holds a different political view, but you cannot compare the level of violence which we are talking about to that which Zanu PF has perpetrated against our people in this country. There are so many graveyards across the whole country that goes and knocks on the doorsteps of Zanu PF. We are talking about thousands and thousands of people of Zimbabwe who lost their lives. Go to Matabeleland and ask and then talk about these squabbles that could have happened among brothers in a house. To talk that the opposition is also violent. They will tell, we have lost. There is no any single family in Matabeleland that was not affected by the terror and violence which Zanu PF people perpetrated against Joshua Ngomo's supporters in Matabeleland. Go to any household in Matabeleland. That's why you realize that the bitterness among those people will not come to an end on the basis that this is recorded violence that has happened in our country. Stephen Stevenson did not lose their life because of the violence within the opposition political party. Zanu PF is currently a member of parliament in the House of Assembly in Zimbabwe. She did not lose her life. Although we don't condone anybody who could have wanted to perpetrate violence against her. But the truth of the matter is that they are completely and absolutely incomparable. Those were just minor scratches against a near genocide. If you would talk about what happened in this country against the opposition forces, both in the MDC and also against the ZAP supporters, is a near genocide. That was mass murder of the people on the basis of holding a different political view. So it is a culture which me and you and all civilized political actors in our country to act decisively, that everyone is entitled to hold his or her own opinion. We should never retribute against anyone on the basis of holding a different political view. I have never assaulted or been involved in violence against anyone who holds his own political views, except the creations of Zanu PF in their own illusions and trying to build some stupid narratives where they will talk about the violence which did not exist. There is no one who could have survived imprisonment had it been that the opposition forces are involved in violence.
But you have been arrested a lot of times, and these arrests have been on the basis that you have been using strong ways of encouraging violence. And one of those instances was when you actually then ended up in the High Court, where you were being charged, I think, with treason, when you uttered statements that you are going to remove President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa from power violently.
No, I've never said that statement. It's a complete lie.
But you were in court for
it's on the basis. How many cases have Zanu PF concocted and manufactured against me which did not stand the test of the court of law? That's why all their cases against me crumpled.
But there's
like cards on the deck, on the basis that all these things have been concoctions and creations by Zanu PF itself.
You need to appreciate that being acquitted by a court of law is different from being innocent.
Yeah, but of course, when a person incites violence, there is no reason that the court would acquit you. If evidence is solid And if that act could have been done, there is no way any court would acquit such a person. But these people were just creating cases out of nothing, trying to destroy the opposition political actors for them to speak their minds out. There is no way I ever said that Mnangagwa should be removed violently. We said Emmerson Mnangagwa is the master of applying violence against opposition political actors in our country. And he must know that the restraint of the opposition political actors in the nation doesn't mean to say that they cannot have a pushback. They are able to even take violence at his own doorsteps. And then they said, Job Sikhala has incited violence. But it was in the context that we were saying, the continued perpetration of violence against people. Like what I said in my interview a few days ago with SABC and Africa News Channel. I said there is a doctrinate law. Yourself as a student of law, you are going to reach it when you will be doing the course called criminal law, where it is said that there is a theory called the wife battered syndrome, where the wife is continuously being battered by a husband and remain quiet upon the perpetration of all that violence. But one day when that wife says enough is enough, that wife can take a pot or either boil oil, can heat up boiling cooking oil, come and pour on the husband, and that husband loses the life. The wife is stating a lawful defense in court called the battered wife solution, that this husband has always been battering me all my life. So my body could no longer take the pain of being continuously being battered. So the same applies. You cannot continuously perpetrate violence upon the people, hoping that they are all stupid and they are not human beings who also have got blood, who also feel the pain of their violence. You cannot continuously kill people and then you hope that because they are stupid and they will continue folding up their arms. There are moments which we have witnessed in history, down the centuries, where people will say, enough is enough. For how long will I be the partaker and recipient of these violent actions against me? And people would end up, responding in a manner that many people would not expect. Also, the same applies of what happened in this country. When the colonial regime, and especially Ian Douglas Smith, continuously perpetrated violence against our own African people in this country, nationalists ended up saying, we cannot continuously become the recipients of the violent nature where we are being beaten on a daily basis. We have to do something. So these are basic political principles and responses that human beings does, where they will say, for how long are we going to remain the victims of being battered? Even when you have not done anything, can you just tell me what is the reason of bombing my house where my innocent little teenager children were sleeping? In my absence, when the whole world knew that Job Sikhala was not in Zimbabwe, what crime could I have committed for them to do that against innocent children? Sometimes even our own political actions, your actions or my actions, Dara, should not affect our families. Your wife and your children do not even know the activities and some of the things that you do. My family don't know what their father is doing.
Some people have argued. They've said that you brought this bombing on yourself. I mean, I need you to talk to that, because these are comments that have been put out on social media, and they say that you are an attention seeker and you want to find relevance in the political space.
These are the real people who have bombed my house, trying to find a defense for them to justify what they have done at my house. If they are saying that I'm an attention seeker, what has happened at my house is a criminal offense. You can't bomb children sleeping in the home. There were bombs which were disposed by the military personnel who come at my house, and it's a criminal offense. Why don't they arrest me today? Today, I challenge them. These people who have bombed my house, who are saying those things, they want to justify their actions against what? The evil they perpetrated against me. This is not the first time. What kind of attention? Do you think I need any form of popularity again? Do you think there is anybody in the whole world, from the east to the west, who doesn't know Job Sikhala? Can I not just even raise my phone here and even phone the former president of the United States of America, Bill Clinton, and talk to me over my phone? Can't I phone Gordon Brown now on my phone right straight away while we are having this interview and talk to him? And what more do I need? Who does not have attention? Whom can I not even phone President Jacob Zuma on my phone now and talk to him and ask him to say, President Jacob Zuma, I want to come to your house and have tea with you? Can't I phone President Kama right straight away now and talk to him directly? So what attention do you think I need anymore? I can invite anyone, even Venancio. I just called him. My brother Venancio come and become the guest of honor at my book launch in South Africa. He did not speak 2 words. I can show you his messages here. So what attention do you think I need? And attention, which a privilege which some of our citizens here, whether in politics or not, do not have. So what attention do I need? These are the people who have bombed my house, who wanted to kill my children, and the intelligence that I obtained from very reliable sources is that their intention was to kill my children. And they have said it, that the intention of these people who are saying these words, who are the ones who are responsible for having bombed my house, was to kill my children. And then they said, we don't want Job Sikhala to come back. If we kill his children, he will never set his foot again back to Zimbabwe, because he will question himself that if they have killed my children, what about me? They will kill me. But then the person who became the source of that intelligence feed to me said, I don't think you know Job Sikhala properly. Do you think you were going to bury Job Sikhala in his absence in this country? You would have to kill him at the funeral, and he could have come. So their intention was to kill my children, to scare me away that I will not come back to Zimbabwe. But how many things have these people done to me? I was tortured, severely tortured. Read footprints in the chains and hear what is said in the topic under Mugabe's torture chamber. I have been bombed several times in this country. My home and my shopping complexes since time immemorial. When Job Jr. was a young boy who was almost about 2-3 months, they came and shot this other war veteran who died, who was called Moyo from Chitungweza, who went and attacked Morgan Tsvangirai at the former ZCTU headquarters opposite Mikkel's Hotel, Chester House. Yes, he came and shot a gun right at my house when I was staying at house number 2884 in St. Mary's. When I was a member of parliament, the same there.
People would ask Job, why? What's the interest? Why are people after you?
I don't know.
What threat do you?
They must explain to the nation why they've been perpetrating the evil that they have been doing against me. Maybe on the basis of many things that, for example, I asked this person who told me, but what is the reason? Because, and then he said, no. You are a cat. When people are eating on the table, the cat comes and make a lot of noise saying, meow, meow, meow. Then they kick you. They kick the cat away because it is just disturbing them from enjoying the meal. That is what they say. They say you are disturbing. You are talking, and you are using the book launch as a platform for you to criticize and attack the government. So you are like a cat that is making noise when people are enjoying food on their table. So that is what he told me. I said, but all that nonsense, and then you go as far. Did I ever disturb them to do whatever they do? They are just looting on a daily basis. I'm just speaking to it as a responsible citizen, that such things cannot happen on my watch as a leader. Because today, even before I come here, I met some people there, and I told them that I don't want my children and my grandchildren to ask me tomorrow to say, is this the kind of a country that you have left for us. What were you doing when you were allowing these people to destroy the country? So I participate in terms of revealing things that are happening in this country, like any other citizen of this country.
You're certain that there's a looting of resources in this country?
Yes, of course. Of course, it's a fact. Who doesn't know that tenders have been plotted left, right, and center without even going via the procurement system and so forth, and blotted have been happening in those tenders that have been offered to dubious companies, and some of them briefcases have been obtained. For example, the Jurahol Earth Estate was said to have cost around 14 or 24 million. I can't still remember that Jurahol. Do you think it could cost even more than 2.5 million? So any normal person would be inquisitive to say, would honestly this Jurahol cost?
Maybe it's bomb-proof.
Maybe it's what?
It's bomb-proof.
No, we don't know. We wouldn't know, even if it is bomb-proof. But my brother, 14 million is not a joke.
21 million.
21 million is not a joke. You know, you could do miracles with it in the context of our own economy in this country. They could have developed our hospitals. They could have done wonders in sectors that are collapsing and even improving our economy. So there is no doubt that when citizens question those things, those people who are eating, like what they said, that I am a little cat that is mooing. When the cat makes noise, what is it called in English?
Mewing, yes.
A cat that is mooing under the table when people are eating on the table. But that is not it. We just speak like any responsible citizen because we don't have any other country.
So some have argued that Zanu PF is too inward looking at the moment because there's absolutely no opposition that is there.
Like what I told you, for sometimes, don't be cheated by Zanu PF. They know that opposition to themselves is increased and multiplied several times among the citizens of this country. There is no doubt that our people are suffering more than ever before. Money is not circulating in the homes. People are suffering in the townships there. There are no jobs, nowhere where you can get money. Everything that you try to get money is it's not making it. Not only that, people are also realizing that what they have been expecting is not happening. The education sector has collapsed. The health sector is now a laughing stock. Everything that we have in our country, even football supporters, know that, their country is not able to host even international matches like Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers or the World Cup qualifiers. We use foreign countries as stadiums. There is no country that has reached that low that still thinks that they are running their affairs.
But we appear to be this country that has so much resources that every week with businessmen donating cars to individuals. Just when they were celebrating what they called the Munumutapa Day, 10 provinces received the ambulances from a businessman, and Zanu PF's 10 chairpersons received vehicles plus 50,000 United States dollars.
No, it's not 50,000. It's not reported. 100,000 US dollars.
Aren't we this very rich country?
So that is what these are things that citizens of our country are questioning. To say, where are you getting this money? Can you show us where you are running your industry? We all knew millionaires, for example, Steve Masua we know that he is running Econet in Zimbabwe. He has been the owner of Stewart Bank before his recent transfer of ownership to other. We know that he ran Mascom in Botswana. We know that he once ran another company in Nigeria, and he is in New Zealand, in Burundi, in Rwanda, in many spheres in the world. You can see how many people, you can ask me and you, we can Google here to find out how many people are employed by Econet. Tell me the donator of 10 Land Cruiser 300 series and 100,000 each as pocket money to the Zanu PF chairperson's industry. Where are his industries? Where he is generating all that lot of money?
Intertech, which actually apparently got a massive tender to build a solar plant, in Gwanda?
Yeah. And we know that even there are only 5 solar panels that have been installed there. And the solar plant was supposed to complement the shortage within our national grid. And we don't know where that man is. It is still issues which the people of Zimbabwe are still questioning. Where is our money? Where our money for the 5 solar panels that have been raised at the Gwanda solar plant? And where are this money coming from? Where is Intratech's industry and firm? How many people are employed by Intratech? If you can give us the statistics, where are they? Where have you ever seen them? We have never seen them. But what we have seen is that these tenders have been given to these people. Even the one that shocked the people of Zimbabwe, the ballot paper printing tender that was given to that company in South Africa was called
Rainform.
Rainform, something like that. I can't still remember its name. 1.2 billion rands. You know, the way how it has been tracked by the South African Financial Intelligence Unit is that it did not go to any productive sector, but it was transferred into different bank accounts and so forth and something like that. So when something like that happens, it is the right of every normal citizens of a country for them to question, how are these people? They did not print. They just outsourced it to another company for them to print. But you give a company which is not able to supply the needed ballot papers in Zimbabwe to outsource it to another company. That company is the one that will produce, and then they just take the profit into their hands. They don't employ anyone. It's just trading in tenders in the nation. So it means we need to correct the way we are running the country. There is no reason why you should persecute us when we question some of those things, because we need answers. Just giving an innocent and simple answer does not need any effort. Why should people bomb each other's houses for having to speak out against such things? So these are things that we responsible citizens of this country will never allow it to happen, because we owe it to generations to come, where our grandchildren will ask me and you to say, no, guys, you had opportunities for you to put things correct. Now the largest employment industry in this country is moving to the diaspora. Everyone who has an opportunity and who is finding things very difficult in the country, the next thing is going to the passport office to seek a passport, either to go to Malawi, either to go to Mozambique, either to go to South Africa, either to Botswana, to Namibia, Angola. And you will find Zimbabweans at some places that you would never think. When I went to Malawi recently, I went to Lilongwe and went at some market where I wanted to change my US dollars in the pocket. Some people ran for me as if I was in St. Mary's. These are the Zimbabweans who are now the largest money changers at some market in Lilongwe.
Indeed, you say that people will look at you and say you had an opportunity to change things in Zimbabwe and make Zimbabwe a better place. But what if I say to you that you squandered this opportunity as an opposition because you guys in the opposition are greedy and self-centered, driven by the desire of power and joining the gravy train, especially if I look at the way you have split only on the basis of the love of power?
That is completely nonsense. I'm not greedy of any I live a simple life. I've got my simple house in St. Mary's.
I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, if you are talking about others, let them come and have an opportunity to answer for themselves. But you know my house, Dara, you have been there several times. You know the simple life that I ran. Even when the 2 cars that I had at my house were bombed, I want to take you now with your camera person to see the car that I have driven here doesn't have the whole front. I'm not ashamed to drive it in the public because that is now the condition that it is. That was not caused by me or by an accident by me, but by terrorists and criminals who came and bombed my house. So I don't have another car. If I could have afforded another one, I could have gone and buy a new one.
But you're a whole vice chairperson of the MDC Alliance, and you're therefore a leader. What made you guys lose each other to the extent that you have now Douglas Monzora running his own, you have now Wolfman Ngube running his own, you now have Chabangu running his own, and I've met a cast of others whose names are too negligible to mention, but they have come out of the MDC Alliance, and they're busy trying to find trinkets and not answering the national question.
Those who are in pursuit of trinkets, the court of public opinion is out there. Our people are not fools.
But you have fooled them because they believe in the MDC Alliance. They believed in
if
your
you are not
leadership.
genuine, and if you are looking for trinkets, you must know, not even the people, even your wife and children will see our father is a fortune hunter. He has no love for the people of Zimbabwe at all. So the truth of the matter is that those who are committed, like what I always tell everyone, that we are not in this struggle for us to obtain riches and for us to amass wealth for ourselves. The best thing that we should do, and the biggest asset we should bequeath to our own families, is to educate our children, for them to be able to look after themselves like what our parents have done to us. They've given us education and we're able to look after ourselves.
You said education.
Not for them to inherit dirty, stolen wealth. That all those whose children are going to inherit dirty, obtained riches are obtained cursed assets on the basis that it is the money that belongs to the masses of our people, which you have taken for yourself. And the way how it shall be destroyed will be shocking. Yes, you are saying that. I'm saying that the education system has been destroyed. That's why I sent my children to schools that do Cambridge University, to open up an opportunity for them to be able to obtain chances and opportunities for them to go to universities that will be able to give them the required level of education that will be able to sustain them on the aftermath of my life on earth.
I want us to look at the press conference that was held just a few weeks ago. Your colleagues from the NWD said that the police, they actually accused the police of not doing enough to find the culprits behind the bombing of your home. Do you buy into that statement?
Like what I said, and on your first question that you asked me, Blessed, you asked me that why is the opposition is also accused of being violent. We have heard many people like Kafero and others in the past having been arrested when they did not commit any political violence and get absolved by the courts of law. But the bombing of the opposition political leaders' houses and homes, or any crimes which have been perpetrated against the opposition leaders in this country, even those who have been murdered, there were no any serious investigations that were done. Even if More Blessing Ali, if we could not have made enough noise like the one that we did at More Blessing Ali, but the noise that even ended up causing some of us to be arrested. By today, we could not have found More Blessing Ali. It could have been theorized. And they've been the same people who have been talking the nonsense you have asked me about. We're saying, no, More Blessing Ali was in love with this guy. They have taken each other to South Africa. Some are saying that she is now living in South Africa. She eloped with the boyfriend to South Africa. When they knew that they've murdered her and thrown her into the into the deep well. So it must ring mind to everyone that had it been that the bombing has been done against a Zanu PF person, these people could have been apprehended. And that Zanu PF person could have obtained feedback from the police almost regularly and on a daily basis. They comment several times on their X handle, and I'm going to unfollow it today because I followed it hoping that they are there to save all of us, but they've never said anything after the bombing of my house.
You think that the police is an extension of a political?
They always had dubious approach when it comes to crimes committed against opposition members in this country for a long time. Generally, victims were those who became accused persons in most of the cases.
And that's still continuing.
It is still continuing.
I remember that when the new dispensation came, then police spokesperson Charity Charamba called for a press conference and said that the police during Mugabe's era were acting in an unprofessional manner. They have now changed and are going to be behaving professionally because of the new dispensation brought in by President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. And do you think that pledge was a lie?
It's not only a lie, it's a shame. Because the behavior of the police during the period of Robert Mugabe were sometimes better. They would investigate the matter first before arresting an individual. At the present moment, like for example, me and you, we have been victims of this regime. Just arrested, throw you into prison, bringing up a form 242 with bizarre allegations and a lot. But for them now to approve it in court, that's why your trial is being postponed, being taken from corner to post and corner to post. You realize it will not go anywhere because they simply just they just took pleasure in persecuting you. Now you are challenging them to say, you have arrested me, you have accused me. I stayed in pre-trial incarceration for such a long time. Now is the time for you to prove your allegations against me. Let them come and prove it. Let them come and prove it. And I've been tweeting about it for some times to say, my brother, don't worry about this. This is their behavior. I have got experience of this, where I was taken from corner to post at every turn when they are no longer able to sustain the allegations against you. So at the end of the day, you realize they are being used as instruments of oppression against, independent voices in this country. The right to free expression and to free opinion is now criminalized in our country.
What troubles me, Honorable Sikhala, is that everyone that you talk to, be it in the police, they say they're not happy with what's happening. Those who come to arrest you, who tell you that they are just being sent, they are not responsible, they are not happy. When you even go to appear in court, the guy who's prosecuting you also says he's not happy. He's just following instructions. I mean, who is this powerful, invisible hand that everyone follows instructions but are not happy? Everyone is not happy, so that means there's just one person. I just don't understand.
You are very factual. These people talk to us, and I'm happy that they also talked to you. They are saying, this is just instructions. Job, we are sorry. We know that you did not commit anything, but we have been sent just to take you to prison because they are afraid of A, B, C, D, and E.
But Job, would I be off cuff to say, I think these people actually enjoy what they're doing. They only say this as an excuse.
No.
Because sometimes the passion that they do it with, even the beating up of people that they do, I think it comes from their heart. And they just want to find an excuse of trying to exonerate themselves by lying that they're not happy about what they're doing.
Some of them, as you have said, when even you see themselves trying to advance their arguments in court, you would see that they are tired. They are not interested absolutely about a case where they know that there is no any case. Let your matter go to trial and they have these police officers come and take a witness stand. Sometimes you would think this is a deliberate act. They will speak bizarre contradictions. They will be one witness will contradict himself in a manner that you think that he is not normal. And you would think, this man is it's no longer normal to have such kind of self-contradiction coming from one person. So sometimes also what you must also know is that these police officers are human beings like me and you. They also have got a family. They also have got relatives. They also have got circles around them. They are questioned on a daily basis to say, Chicha Morikuitaich, why are you doing this?
But Job,
And don't think.
how does it feel for these people that we are talking about? Because their excuses, they're feeding their families. But how do you feel as a human being, Job, feeding your family, your children,
We are on the tears and agony of other people.
of other innocent young people?
Yeah.
How do you feel driving a very expensive Range Rover and getting it fueled and sitting in this office paid by taxpayers' money and knowing that what you're doing is not just?
You know, Zanu PF is a political party without conscience. They are so evil that their hearts are obsessed with nothing except satanic thoughts and intentions against the people. Anything that does not threaten their power is not an issue of their concern. Anything that threatens their power, they deal with you. They dealt with you that time when they threw you into prison because they were saying that you are giving somebody platform who is threatening our eating on the table. So you must go there so that this person will not get any platform for him again to speak his heresy and so forth. That is how evil Zanu PF is. I believe to those who say that Zanu PF is a cult that feeds on human blood. Because like what I told you, the number of people who have been killed since 1980 on the hands of Zanu PF, if we are to take stock of every act which they perpetrated against our people, if we are to take statistics of the number of people who have suffered and have had tears of blood because of Zanu PF, you would come to a conclusion that these people are agents of the devil.
But Job, for nationalists, as they say they are, who suffered some cruel treatment under the White Rhodesian government, under Ian Smith, who were sent to prison for no wrongdoing, and they felt the pain whilst they were in those prisons, even though the prison system then was better than now. But for people who have suffered that extent, why is it so easy for them to subject other people to such inhuman treatment?
You know, that's why I love President Ian Khama. President Ian Khama, on his speech that he delivers during the book launch, he said, in Zimbabwe, what has happened was only the change of name and the change of leaders. What Ian Douglas Smith was perpetrating against the black majority people in Zimbabwe is the same thing which the current rulers of the nation are doing against their own black brethren. He said that it would be understood that the perpetration of violent persecution of black people was done by a white person against a black person, but now is being perpetrated by a black person against another black person. So it is true that we have only changed our name from Rhodesia to Zimbabwe for the purpose of grandstanding, but the spirit and the behavior of evilness still persists. So we need to sit and reflect as the people of Zimbabwe. For how long can we continue having such evil people presiding over our affairs? Is it not time when we put our ears together and say enough is enough? These people must be kicked out of power.
Do you think that is possible? Because right now,
no matter how long it will take. No, that's why Smith said in 1,000 years, it's not possible that you will have black majority in this country. And I believe when I was a young boy growing up, I heard some old elders in the community telling us that these people who are in Mozambique are wasting their time. Do they think that they will be able to remove a white person from power? That will never happen. But when the time comes, there is no evil that will never come to an end. Even Hitler thought that he was invincible. He never thought that the Führer will be humiliated and ended up shooting himself or disappeared into thin air, unknown thin air, where historians and revisionists will only have to write theories and speculations on what could have happened to Hitler. But during the period of the peak of their power, they never thought that. You have to understand that the first Chimreng was fought in 1893, 1894, 1896. And the whites, after they have subdued and defeated the black people in 1893, they never thought that they would go. But 90 years down the line, the people still rose. No matter how long it will take, Zanu PF shall go out of power. And this they must know. Evil will never triumph and persist forever. Get it from me. It shall fall. This evil regime of Zanu PF is going to fall one way or the other. What I urge the people of Zimbabwe to do, be persistent. Don't waver. Continuously raise your concerns and anger against this evil party. Each time to go shall come.
But Job, as you say this, these people that you are addressing have lost faith, and many now are starting to believe that Zanu PF is the only solution to this country. We find even top opposition politicians in the past are now part of Zanu PF. Blessing Chibundo, for instance, the alleged violence, I say alleged advisedly, that he suffered in the hands of Zanu PF when his house was reduced to ashes in Kwekwe, when he stood as a parliamentary candidate against then candidate for Zanu PF, who is now the president of this country, Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Blessing Chibundo, whose children escaped with their lives, by Whisker, sits in the Zanu PF headquarters building just behind us here, with an office, with a mandate to recruit former opposition people to Zanu PF, and he's doing that, and he's surviving on that. Now, why should any normal human being, normal in the sense that those who have not been in position for the opposition, believe you when you say that Zanu PF is evil, that Zanu PF will go, when those of you, those that you sit on the same table with, are now singing the song that Zanu PF is the best foot forward?
We like what you have been doing, well, like what you have said when you were asking this question. Blessing Chibundo survived death by a whisker, where his family and children had to escape and run away. I think at that time you know him very well because you were based in Kwekwe. You were the correspondent for the Newsday and also Alpha Media Holdings as a correspondent from Kwekwe. You know the Blessing Chibundo story very well.
That time I was with the ANZ, with the Daily News.
Yeah, sure, that's very true. So, but don't forget also what you have told me, the issue of the people who run for the tickets over principles and values. So it's all about eating. Don't think when even Blessed, I once told you about this, don't think that Blessing Chibundo, when he is at that Zanu PF headquarters, is happy there. He knows that this person is my witch. This person is the one who bewitched me, is the one who did all this evil against me. He might pretend and smile and try for eating purposes, but deep down the heart, like what I told you, the heart of somebody opposed to Zanu PF will never be Zanu PF. That's why you realize that even at the end of his life, Tumiso Tavengwa, when he was forced into this unity accord with Zanu PF, he said his heart and soul is not with Zanu PF. I'm going back to where I was groomed and where I grew up. I am reviving SAP now. On the you won't fit into that cult. It needs a lot of effort for you to be able to enter and qualify into the cult. So these are the people who are only looking for trinkets and also to eat on the table and get it, but their hearts are not there. And as far as I know and understand, I've been telling you that that's why you realize that some pretenders who come from Zanu PF and joining MTC, you realize that along the way, they will come out now publicly and announcing that we are going back home to Zanu PF. So never think that a person whose blood veins flows Zanu PF will be able to believe and become really serious opposition. Only those who have been built in the culture of opposition politics know that Zanu PF is evil. So even if when we are saying that, there is one person, I don't want to mention their name, he phoned me and said, Sikhala, I did, if you know, the worst thing that I did was for me to be paraded at the Zanu PF headquarters and said to have defected to Zanu PF. I said, why? He said, these people are very evil. They are treating us like people suffering from lepros. They look at us as if we are stinking skunks in their corridors. I wanted to protect my small businesses, but I'm realizing that I have really completely ruined my life by joining these people. I don't know now what to do, because even if I will try to come back to the opposition, no one will believe me. They will say these people have joined Zanu PF and no one will be able to welcome me back to the opposition. So these are some of the things that are hounding the conscience of those who went and joined Zanu PF. What story goes, which was committed by these people all over the time, over the past 45 years, and become part and parcel of that demonic home at the Zanu PF headquarters.
Whatever if I say to you, Job, Honorable Sikhala, that some of you guys are old, you're tired, we have been in the trenches for far too long. It's time to just step out.
No, that's completely, you can't say at 52 I am is old. This is the period when, at the peak, Morgan Sangre formed the MTC when he was 50. Do you know that? Yeah, in 1999. And he was at the peak of his energy. So from the age of 50 to 65, you are at the peak of your energy.
But if you are at something for a very long time, because at least he started at 50, some of you started at 20. You have been 30 years in this trend, and you're tired. You need to rest.
You will never, the liberation struggle was fought since 1963. If it has not been on the issue of persistence,
these guys who have been persisting are now looting. They're tired.
That's why I am saying you will never be tired as long as oppression still exists. You could have been a pretender to the cause of change in the nation. If you would say, I am now giving up. That's giving up. We can't give up. Don't ask us to give up on the struggle for the freedom of our people.
Some of you, because you have been in this for too long, now you are now looking for, I have just fought and my life is wasted. I need to eat now. This is why you're losing your direction in the cause.
Those are the people whom I have said from the beginning that they had no conviction for them to know the reason why they were in the Contra movement, why they were in the mass democratic struggle, for them to to engage against the evil of Zanu PF from 1980. So what you must also know is that it is not the longevity in a struggle that defines why people should give up. What you are trying to suggest is capitulation. That these people who have been fighting and they failed to remove Zanu PF, it's now high time for them to capitulate. We won't capitulate. Never shall we capitulate.
I'm not saying capitulate. I'm saying give those who have new ideas. Who have
because
every time those of you who have been in this struggle for long have been pushed out, you have resisted, and as a result formed factions, and as a result, when you saw some of the people who have been in parliament for the rest of their lives, they resisted being pushed out.
There is no one. That is why we are continuously fighting. We want to create a democratic state where every one of us who needs to participate into the state of affairs of their nation would do it freely, without fear, without feeling being obliged to be compelled to do certain things that they don't believe on. So it is the same issues where we say, those who want to come out, please come out. No one is elbowing you out for you to participate in the cause of your nation. Ourselves, when we joined the mass democratic struggle, we were kids from the University of Zimbabwe in 2000. And as student leaders, we did not capitulate or give up, but we persisted.
But Job, let me take you to the book launch, the book launch in Blawayo, where your former Secretary General Charlton Wende is saying that we failed you. We should have done this. We should have done this. We failed you. And this just shows the discord, the unhappiness,
No,
So how do you have a people who, when they had power to do something for you, to make sure that you come out of prison, as Wende says, did nothing, only to come and stand up at a book launch and say, yes, I was SG, we did nothing. And you want those people to inspire confidence, to lead people.
Yeah,
let's talk about this.
Yeah. Do you understand what my what blessed? Some opinions of individuals should not be taken as biblical truth, or as if it's the definition of how the struggle must be fought. When some people are saying statements, they do it for a particular audience or for a particular purpose. So even if somebody would have talked the way how Charlton Wende spoke, I would be very happy, because several times you and him, you have been playing cat and mouse games with us. You have promised all of us an interview. We have seen you have advertised it several times on social media platforms. I think 2-3 times. Am I lying? Why don't you give us such an interview? Myself, you just phoned me yesterday to say, Mkoma, can I have you either Tuesday or Wednesday for us to have a talk and interview at the HSTV? We agreed our time just like that. Why don't you simply just do what you did to me to Charlton Wende? When they come here, you said these things in these words in Olawayo. Define to us what you meant by what you were saying. Are you inspiring confidence that we are still fighting for the cause of the masses of our people? He is an old person. We are almost the people of the same age. So he is old enough and mature enough for him to answer for his own statements. So for me to try to either degrade him or to promote him over his own statements, as you understand me better, I
don't want you to judge him.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want you to judge him. I didn't call you here to judge other individuals because they should be able to be held accountable for their own words. But what I wanted us to discuss is how those statements impact on the issues that you're talking about. You are addressing people to say, don't give up. You're addressing people that they should continue.
Yeah.
But then they hear someone who had a very senior post saying that when a very senior member of their political party was arrested, they had an opportunity to bring you out. And I mean, I heard this. I'm not making this up. You were there.
Yeah. We had
They,
to, we
yes,
both had to,
they could have brought you out of prison, right? But they didn't. And then I am sitting here as Blessed, and I'm saying, little me, if I ever going to listen to Job Sikhala, what he's saying, and I get into trouble, they didn't care less about a senior party member. What about me? I mean, so my question is, do those statements without talking about names.
The struggle is not all about our selfish needs. There are people who have lost lives in the struggle. Not only during the mass democratic struggle against the Zanu PF dictatorship, even during the period of the liberation struggle. There are many people who have been bombed at Chimoyo, in Nyazonya, at Mkushi, in Zambia. Thousands died. So when you engage in a struggle, if you do read the history of how Beta Chokurama, Tondera Indira, and that other team lost their lives and cut into pieces.
We covered that
you
Daily
covered it in an extensive way in the Daily News. If you do see the way how Mo Blessing Ali was killed and cut into 3 pieces, you'd end up giving up. But engaging and getting involved in a struggle do not need people with lily livers. It needs people of conviction, people who know that what I am doing is good and right. So if anybody would be discouraged by a negative statement having been said by an individual at a particular platform, just like what Musoriwa, Chief Chirao, and others were saying during the period of the liberation struggle, they were saying, you have seen how Magandanga have been killed and displayed on the helicopters. What the Smith regime was doing is that I saw one of those incidents when I was a young boy, a very clever young boy. I saw a gorilla who was killed by the Smith soldiers. They took a rope and they tied him, and then tied him to the helicopter and flew him. When everyone in the village was saying, Igandanga, Rataura Iro, Igandanga, Rataura Iro. And many people were inflicted fear by those acts. Chief Chirao and Abel Musoriwa would come the following day and say, you have seen what happens to terrorists if you want to fight this, this government. So all the gorillas, come back home, come back home, come back home. They were not discouraged by Chief Chirao or Abel Musoriwa's statements, but it rather embodied and intensified their resolve. So anybody who would be dissuaded from partaking in the fight against Zanu PF dictatorship because when they said some statements in Blawa, that person has not been committed to the struggle for the emancipation of our country from the jaws of Zanu PF dictatorship. So we must look at some of this, because it has happened. There is nothing that is happening today, Blessed, which has never happened in history. Everything that is happening, that is we are witnessing and happening today, have been seen and they've happened in history. So let us not think that such kind of statements will dissuade people of conviction, people who know that they are on a mission, to make sure that the nation of Zimbabwe is freed.
But you agree with me that for you to win a war, you don't just want those of conviction. You also want to convince those who are not yet convicted.
Who are not yet convinced,
Yeah.
are you saying?
Convicted.
Yeah. Who are not yet what? Convicted.
Yes. Who don't have the conviction.
Or the conviction.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But however...
So statements that are likely to dissuade those who are on the fence must be, by any means, especially by leaders, avoided. Would you not agree with that?
Of course, I would completely agree with you that any negative vibes to the current struggle in our country would bring negative energy. It would bring apathy. It would bring, trauma, and even though dissuade those who want to join the struggle, who is sitting on the fence, to say, no, we can't. But however, like what I said to you, such kind of statements have been said, but it never stopped the people from continuing to persecute the struggle against oppression of Ian Douglas Smith. So the same applies. No matter what kind of a statement that would be said against me or against anybody in this country, will dissuade us from pursuing the goal of making sure that generations to come won't blame me and you for not having done something when oppression was taking place in our country.
As we close, we've run out of time, but this was, as the first episode of the Free Talk on the comeback, amazing. But we have, from my analysis and my view, correct me if I'm wrong, but this nation is a plague of violence that needs to be exercised. Going forward, how do we do that? That we remove violence from our politics, that we understand that freedom of expression and freedom of speech must not only be exercised because we are in agreement. In actual fact, it must be exercised and seen to be exercised, especially when we are not in agreement.
There is no any other remedy outside removing Zanu PF from power. As long as Zanu PF is in power, the people of Zimbabwe must know that this thing will persist.
You think they're incapable of healing the culture of violence?
The moment Zanu PF is gone, you will never see any other grain of violence again in our country. It has been happening in many jurisdictions, but when change of government comes, when the government of the people is bestowed upon it, violence comes to an end and people start enjoying their freedoms. So Zanu PF is the greatest enemy for our people. It is the one that has brought the culture of violence, terror, and all the evils against the people of Zimbabwe. We must remove Zanu PF. And it is the duty of each and every normal Zimbabwean to see that this is the evil party that has caused all the tears and sorrows in our country.
I want to thank you very much, Honorable Job Sikhala, for joining me here on this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with our partners, the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. Now, before I let you go, as I normally do, I would ask you to say words from your heart. If there's something that is pressing on your heart, Job, that you'd want to talk about, but maybe I would nudge you a bit to just give us some hint, some understanding of what has been happening around the book launch, how the book has been received.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the people of Zimbabwe, for having watched this very interesting interview I've had with Blessed Mhlanga. The book launch is, as you have been witnessing, because of the advancement of technology, you have been witnessing these book launches live, and also you have seen how it has been going. It went very well in Harare. It went very well in Bulawayo. And as you also know, that our book launch in Masvingo was disrupted by the Zanu PF terrorists who came and disrupted the book launch. They took the books, tore them and threw and parcel each other copies of the book and shared it among themselves. In South Africa last week, it was a bamba launch where all of these people, where many people came and attended in their large numbers. And to be very frank with you, my brother, the books are in huge demand throughout the whole world. In South Africa, it became our largest sales at one point, where we have been able to sell more than 280 copies of the book. And I have just been contacted by colleagues in the United States of America, where they have asked us to send them about 200 copies of the book, with the one there. And we are going to have our launch in the United States of America very soon. We are going to advise you accordingly. But not only that, the people of Zimbabwe, we also have got challenges as our country. A plethora of challenges and problems that we are facing in our country can only be done with when Zanu PF is removed from power. It is the duty of each and every responsible citizen of Zimbabwe to make sure that the entire system of Zanu PF, we are not talking about removing Zanu PF in installments, but the entire engraved system of Zanu PF must be removed from power for us to be able to restore our dignity and enjoy our freedoms again as the people of Zimbabwe. I thank you for having watched this interview I have had with Blessed Mhlanga today. May God bless all of you. I love you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Honorable Sikhala. And I mean, it's always a pleasure to host you and roast you at the same time. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I think about a few weeks ago, I also sat with Job Sikhala Jr. and we had a conversation around learning at the University of Zimbabwe. Now, here at Heart and Soul TV and Radio, together with our partners, Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, and we're also going to be partnering with Action Aid, with Orbit International, and with the Center for Human Rights in Pretoria. We're going to be hosting a Southern Africa Media Summit, which is determined to ensure that we raise the issue of media freedom and the voices that are being silenced by governments around the region, the Southern Africa region. We are saying that as a progressive, as SADC, as Zimbabwe, voices of the people must be heard. Most of the time, these voices are heard through the media. So as Heart and Soul TV and Radio, we will be hosting this with our partners, Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, the Center for Human Rights in Cape Town, Pretoria, and we'll be hosting this at the Hyatt on the 15th to the 16th of October. And now, some of them, we're going to be having some of the top speakers coming from South Africa. We're going to also have the Indian ambassador to Zimbabwe is going to grace that occasion. We're going to have Madam Faith Zaba, the Zimbabwe Independent editor, speaking on that occasion. Lloyd Kuvea, who's the deputy director for the Center for Human Rights University in Pretoria. We're also going to have the editor and publisher of the Nation magazine. His name is Becky Makubu, who's going to be speaking there. And Anthony Harbour, the investigative journalist, author, and of freedom of speech. He's an author and he's also a freedom of speech activist from South Africa. We're also going to have Victoria Rubadiri. She's Connecting Africa CNN correspondent from Kenya. She'll be coming into Zimbabwe, and we're going to have this conversation around resilience, strengthening independent journalism for democracy and nation building. Now, join us for this summit. That will be amazing. And I'm going to be one of the speakers there and talking about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and how it impacts the development and the economy of nations. Now, this will always be the Free Talk. With me, your host, proudly, Dara B. We will not stop. We can't stop.
We can't stop.
Thank you.
We can't stop.
Until next time.
Kutengo kuwa kutenga sana